What is going on, YouTube? We got something so exciting for y'all today. So right now, behind me, you are looking at an all-wheel drive 5.7 liter Hellcat. And yes, I said that right. So this is a retired police vehicle. It came factory with the 5.7 liter V8 and all-wheel drive, which is one of those unicorn setups you can only get through these police models. So we took this all-wheel drive Charger and slapped a Hellcat Supercharger on this thing. And you've got to follow along with us with this build because it's going to be absolutely insane. Hellcat Supercharger 5.7 liter V8 with all-wheel drive on a retired police car. It is really just the craziest combo. So today's video is going to be part one of the full install. So we wanted to break this video up into two parts just because there is so much that goes into these installs, and we want to be super thorough, super detailed to, show you all exactly how we did this. And so for those of you brand new to the channel, this is our build and giveaway number 4. After we are fully done with this entire build, this thing's gonna go home to one of you. And so you might be wondering how you can win this car, and it is actually super simple and easy. So what you can do is you can go head on over to our website, atlanticbeachcustoms.com, pick up any product off the website, and then you will automatically earn entries in to win this car. And we're a pretty small company. We just started doing these. This is our 4th giveaway, and we pride ourselves on being super transparent and upfront on how the giveaways work. We go live here on YouTube and use a third-party random number generator to randomly draw one of those entries, and if your name is attached to that one lucky entry, you take this car home. We will deliver it straight to you. You will not see a Charger build like this anywhere else. All right, so let's go get into today's video and let's Hellcat Supercharge this thing together. This thing fully taken apart pretty much last night. So we got Rob and Tyler back over here. So now we're gonna start with the full reassembly.
Having a nice clean surface for our valve covers.
Okay, so we got the surfaces pretty cleaned up. Rob is calling to try to get a new belt because this one is quite a bit wider than the one that we need. So Rob's trying to get that, and Tyler is over here working on replacing the spark plugs. So once again, we picked up these Iridium IX, so we're gonna get all of these swapped out real quick and get those new ones in there. So we got Rob over there finishing up some of those spark plugs.
If it'll go.
And
16 of them. All 6.
Tyler and I are trying to figure out where to mount up this heat exchanger.
I think if we move one of the horns, it'll slide in, but currently this fan is, oh wait, hold on. This fan might be too chunky to fit back here. Maybe we'll go in from the bottom. No, there's a transpooler in there. Okay, so we're working with, what does that say? 5.5, maybe a little more. So our spacing between our AC condenser and our, yeah. That's a chunky fan. All right, see if it'll slide in.
Moment of truth.
This is a good size heat exchanger right here. We could go JDM and put it outside the bumper.
No.
This is pretty chunky. I think it's actually supposed to go the other way. But we're not gonna have any room back here in the first place. Not to mention the 2 fans.
It does not go back there.
It looks like it goes like that.
Leave the washer bottle.
I bet it's supposed to go somewhere like that. I don't.
Dang, is that the washer pump? Holy crap.
No,
That's
brother.
the power steering.
Okay, that's the power steering motor.
What's on that side?
A hole.
Yeah, there's a hole.
Yeah, that's the easy part. That's just running a hose. We gotta build a bracket or something. That'll probably hang too low.
But we bolted it here.
That's assuming the bumper fits with it right here. As long as we got room for our...
Remember fog lights? Does this have fog lights?
Nope.
No fog lights, okay. So yeah, it'll work. That'll work.
We're gonna need some creativity on this one, boys.
Yeah, we're gonna need to...
I've got exactly one bolt hole that will mount up nicely.
No, we need to make a bracket, drill into this.
That's what I'm saying. We got to get creative because only one bolt hole is on metal. We're going to need to make an extension here to come out for this one. Honestly, we're pretty much going to have to build a square frame for this and stick it to the back of that.
Okay, so I guess we'll kind of put this on the back burner for now while we try to think through that a little bit more, but looks like it's probably going to be the best spot for it.
And then we can run the plumbing straight through this hole.
Right through there, yeah.
That'll actually work really well if we can get it to do it.
The wide body bumper is giving us a lot more room.
Oh, yeah.
This whole cubby is open on that bumper.
Yeah. We'll just put it behind the rear bumper facing downward.
That's actually...
I've seen guys do that.
Yeah, that's actually a concept.
All right, here we go. All 16 of them.
Got one already?
Here's nice.
7 over here. And that one can go over here. And here's 8 over here.
All right, so I just got all the spark plugs in, and now we're going to mount up the valve covers.
It's about that time. We're gonna put the bolts in first so the grommets can clip in before we try and fasten the bolts down.
True.
Swing it all the way around. And then tuck that. There you go, and now start rotating. Push it back some. Here. Yeah, I had to fight the harness the whole way out with the old one, and this one's tall.
Yep.
There you go.
The harness.
Start in the middle.
So that's the little pro tip.
Always start in the middle,
Yeah.
work your way out. So top, bottom, top, bottom, top, bottom. There's a specification for everything. It squeegees the gasket outwards.
Those valve covers look crazy on this thing.
Ooh, come in a big fancy box.
Steel gray.
Ooh. Nice. These things?
Ooh,
Yep, these guys.
that's nice.
See, the cheap ones, a lot of cheap ones don't actually have this
Have the
angle.
bend.
Yeah, they just are like flat squares. But these are nice. What it does is it just...
It takes DC voltage and turns it into high voltage AC.
Yep, regulates it and tells it what to do, when to do it.
And then once we get this kind of closed up, I think we'll probably start with trying to cut this off.
Maybe force it on there. Bonk.
Yeah. Probably should have started in the back. Did the instructions say how to fit them?
Looks sweet though.
They do look sweet.
Got Rob and Tyler both trying to finagle these things. There's not a whole lot of clearance with this. Okay, so I'll show y'all where we're at right now. We just finished getting the spark plugs in. We got the coil packs in. So pretty much set with all of that. Yeah, we got to work on that bracket over here for the heat exchanger. But then I think the rest of it should hopefully go pretty smooth. Famous last words.
Right.
But we'll see. So yeah, here's a look at it right now with those Hellcat valve covers, rip coil packs. So this is what I was talking about. We're gonna trim this off right now so that way we can actually get the Supercharger to fit. And then yeah, we'll mount up those adapter plates right here and start just working on the rest of that stuff over there. Rob's taking a little break down here. It is hot, it is very hot.
Because we're from Florida.
What we'll do is run some masking. We'll just kind of cut out a little hole around this, mask off the entire engine bay. And then, yeah, work on getting that thing cut off. These are the coil pack extensions.
Because
They are really long.
this is going to live about right here.
So I'll throw these things on real quick and then mask and cut. All right, here's a quick look. So just got this thing shaved down. So that should clear just fine now as soon as we get the Supercharger fit up there. These are the adapter plates, so we're just test fitting these up, see how these look. We're pretty much home free to at least fit this thing up now.
We'll probably bump into that with the Supercharger.
Oh yeah, I think we'll have to remove this right here.
Yeah, we'll see. Now we're just putting in all these little bolts.
Each adapter plate is just
So yeah,
five little bolts.
5 in the center, and then you see these outers, that's for the charger to bolt up to the existing holes.
Okay.
And see these dowels?
They line up the Supercharger.
Yep, line it up so you can't mess
Misalign
up.
it, yeah.
Yep, it's foolproof. Yeah, most places, most adapter plates don't have dowels. So this is a really good kit.
I'd hate to have to do one of these.
By myself?
Yeah.
Yeah. All right, send it right here. Yep.
Okay.
Nope, can't get the bolts in. I'm gonna have to go back.
But will it sit?
I mean, yeah, if we go back some more.
What's it hit on? Oh, fuel line's hitting on the dipstick.
Oh. There we
Give it a push. Turn it down.
get it in the dowel. What are we hitting on?
Probably the dowel in the back. Yep.
We're good on that now.
Okay, so what's keeping it jacked up like that?
I do not know.
Did we maybe set it down on one of the vacuum lines or something? I'd rather work in this than work in the winter.
Back at it, just got the factory belt out of here. We're working on fitting up the idler pulley right here. So yeah, we're gonna mount this thing up real quick.
Coolant just starts a short one on here. These are bolts that were just put with.
So it's those 2 bolts,
And one
one right there, and then
this one.
that one right there.
Bing bong.
Yep. And then we just got to figure out what to use on that. There. All right. There. Tight fit, but it goes.
And they bent it, or
Just clearing. What are they?
Kind of hard to see, but just fit up the idler pulley in those 3 spots where we took those screws out. All right, here we go. We got this thing fit up. Wow. So what are we working on right now? We got to take off this little brace, just that way we can get access to those back bolts, but seated super well to the adapter plates. Look, it's huge.
yeah,
This thing is massive.
yeah. I don't think
Maybe real quick, should we try to just
I was about to
lightly
say I don't
close
know
the
if your
hood?
hood's gonna shut, buddy.
Let's try it.
Yeah, it is a clone, but it might. Yeah.
Money.
Like a glove.
No,
There's no way I
glove.
feel like that would have fit without the Hellcat style hood.
Let
There
her be.
she is.
Yep.
Wow.
Yeah, this is honestly low key. This might be the easy part.
Drilling and pinning the crank is going to be a lot of fun.
Yeah. Yeah.
It
Yeah,
sits
those
up
rip
so
coils
high.
look pretty good on there too.
Yeah, they do.
It
Okay,
is
so-
100 degrees,
It is so hot.
and we are out here making content for you guys. That's how much we love you.
So yeah, like, comment, subscribe. Huge shout out to Rob and Tyler over here. These guys are getting it done. So yeah, what do we have next? Just gotta screw in the rest of these bolts and then
Get it mounted.
The rest of it.
Yeah, and then there's a lot of plumbing that we'll have to figure
take
out.
that. I really do.
I look at your channel all the time.
Thank you so much. This is what we've got going on right now. Got this Pursuit fitting up the Hellcat blower to it.
Wow.
So I know we've been out here all day and making some pretty good progress.
I wish you guys would more success.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you so much. How long you been watching from? Since the Chrysler?
Yeah, a little bit before the Chrysler, but I love y'all did a hell of a job on that Chrysler.
Well, thank you so much for stopping by.
Thanks for coming by.
Yes, sir.
You want to be on the channel?
Yeah.
You want to be on the channel?
No.
Okay. Okay.
All right, so we got the charger on. We've got the adapter pulleys on, which is pretty neat. I like how it's user friendly. Can't go wrong with it.
Super easy. 3 bolts right there.
3 bolts, man, and right in. You don't got to worry about coolant or nothing because they're all just pass-through bolts. That's
Looks
about
crazy
it.
with all this stuff, all of these extra
Yeah, it's
wires
just
and
all kind of jumbled. But it'll be clean whenever we're done. We'll zip tie everything up, loom it if need be, whatever need to be done to make it
Make it look a little better at least.
presentable. Yeah.
Yep.
It's coming together though. Everything
really
looks
is.
pretty good. Yeah.
Full day's work, still have a lot left to do, but yeah, definitely making some good progress. This is probably where we'll honestly call it for the night. Like Rob said, still have to figure out that heat exchanger, some of the plumbing, and then what do we have? We got the intake, fuel pump, and yeah, a few other little things over there. So we'll get them sorted out, but it's looking good. All right, so we are back to work. We have the supercharger off. What we're working on right now is actually fitting up the
Reservoir for the heat exchanger. And it came with this factory bracket, and we have determined that once you pop the cover off of this strut over here, it sits right on the strut bolts.
Look at that. Right now we're trying to figure out where to put everything. So yeah, if you use this MMX kit with that bracket,
It's gonna sit right in there just like that. Obviously a little further down once we put all the nuts on. But
So yeah, that is where your supercharger coolant tank will go. Just right there. You want to install that right now?
yeah, let's get it.
So yeah, we're just gonna take these bolts off real quick, work on getting this mounted up.
They get like that sometimes when they're brand new.
This is a nice fit. This thing's gonna be nice and secure.
Absolutely, it's not going anywhere.
And it looks factory. That's what's cool.
Oh yeah, bud.
Cool. So what's next? Do you kind of want to talk about your diagram real quick?
Okay, yeah. So what I've got here is my rudimentary diagram on how our plumbing's going to have to work here. We've got our supercharger, has 3/4 inch hose barbs on it. And the hot side out of the supercharger goes over this way. And there's a bypass T here and here for the expansion tank that we just put on. But our problem here is that the hose here has to be 3/4 inch to fit on the supercharger and to fit on the pump, but our hose here has to be a 1/2 inch to fit on the bottle. So we got to get a funny T here and there. Then it'll go down to the pump. The pump will push it through the heat exchangers, and from the heat exchanger it'll go back cold to the supercharger. Kit for the heat exchanger also came with 1/2 inch hose barbs when our pump and our supercharger both gets 3/4 inch hose.
Yeah. Man, this is crazy. This is why we could not be doing this with that Tyler and Rob, because when Tyler was kind of explaining this to me, it's honestly like a completely different language. So if you have any questions about this, drop them in the comments and we'll try to have Rob and Tyler help you out.
A bolt-on kit's hardly ever really bolt-on, you know?
Yep. I guess we could probably fit the supercharger back up, right?
Yeah.
Because
I want to see if we can get that purge line back on. That emissions
this one?
thing.
Oh, okay.
Right now,
before we fit up the supercharger?
I think having the supercharger off gives me a little window back there to see where it goes. So I think I'm going to try that and then set the blower back on.
Why don't we just clip these two real quick. Just want to lift it up.
And we'll take a pit stop right here.
This is a back killer. Leaning
Yeah, it
over
is.
like this. Okay, ready?
Yep. How are we looking?
Gotta go up one more.
All right. And then if we can get it to set on the posts over there, we'll be in good shape. Yep.
There we go.
And there's the
Nice.
back. Ever so gently, work it in there.
Here we go, we're back in business. Look at how massive that throttle body is. That's huge.
It's gonna flow. It's gonna flow great.
Yeah.
It's gonna flow all the air.
Let us know if you guys think we should repaint the lid. Kind of like the black. I did pick up some blue paint over here. So I did pick up some of this stuff and it's almost a perfect color match to the factory paint. So look at that.
That's nice.
So it's gonna be really close with the wrap and it's gonna look pretty much paint matched. So let us know what you guys think, if we should leave it black or if we should paint the lid blue.
Afternoon. How's it going?
We flipped the lid.
Uh-huh.
And we've got a green belt. And I drew a picture for the plumbing.
Got the little coolant
Got the
tank.
bottle mounted.
Yep.
Got that purge line back in. So what we've got here, this is a piece of the emissions system from the factory intake. This is the purge control solenoid. It takes the fuel vapors from the gas tank that come up through this line that I was having such a time to get back on. And the computer tells us to open or close to put the fuel vapors back through the intake. The car that this came off of was not running that because it was a purpose-built race car. He wasn't worried about any type of emissions. But we're gonna try and put it back on there just in case.
I'm wondering if we gotta go underneath this.
Looks like it. So what we can do then is cut this hard line, patch a rubber line in, and mount it right here with the stock bracket maybe.
Wherever that'll reach.
Because I'm pretty sure Bernie said there was something that looked like this that he had to extend, so.
Something like that. And then the electrical connector for it's here somewhere. Yeah. This is for our map sensor. This one's before the boost, and this one's after the boost. So we probably want it on the after the boost sensor. Our boost controller should have one of these on there too, shouldn't it?
So the boost controller goes right here to this little plug. You can
I think
see
that needs to be over here.
We also got to route this into the car. So.
blue tape.
We'll get to it.
And then this right here is the map sensor harness.
Yeah, that's our map sensor adapter harness. We went from a 3-wire to a 4-wire. So whatever this wire is, we gotta add it. I think it needs either power or 5-volt reference.
We're not pulling that one out. That one's going to be really long and really hard to get back. So the easier one is the harness one.
We'll just poke a hole in it
Yep.
so that we can keep the grommet where it is.
Yep, and it's a normal old grommet.
He sent me a Discord yesterday, told me, yeah, let's start on the stuff that might take a while, because we're gonna need to send Brandon to the store at some point to pick us up some materials. Oh, that's a perfect example of the type of tees we need. I mean, these are built into these hoses, but see how this is big and that's small? Maybe if I move this hose out of the way.
I see.
Yeah, same idea. We need some that are 3/4, 3/4, and half.
Okay.
Two of them.
All right, so I think right now we're gonna get the next worst task over with. So
We gotta take this kit.
And put that on.
We're gonna put this on the front of the harmonic balancer, and it's a guide to drill 2 perfect holes to put these pins into to make sure the balancer doesn't spin on the crank, because these don't have a keyway.
if you didn't do this with these pins, what could potentially happen?
The balancer would spin on the crank, and that would cause a lot of heat and friction there, in addition to not making boost like you should.
Yeah.
We'll work on that right now, kind of get that over with, and let you know how that goes.
I'm taking this fan out so that we can get to a little more things up here. And then this should lean back.
Pull it up.
Pull right out the top. What's this? That's a special tool for later. We got to do the dance a little bit here.
The heater hose on this side.
Good looks.
Or the thermostat.
Nah, that's gonna get stuck right there. So ideally, if we move the radiator fans, that'll give us enough room to move the radiator, condenser, and transmission cooler, I believe, up enough that we can get to the harmonic balancer, which lives right about here.
Okay, so we can just drill through and do all that straight from here.
That's the idea. Otherwise, we'll be taking a lot of things apart if that doesn't give us enough room.
Give me a little rev when you park.
Do the roar!
And it's
You got it?
There it
There we
is.
go.
It's a boy.
It's a boy.
We can leave these hooked up because the AC lines are on here too. So
Well,
can't
don't
go
we
there.
have a cooler thermostat anyway? Was that for this?
180-degree thermostat? Yeah,
for
we do
this,
have
for
that.
this.
Oh yeah, so we needed to do that anyway.
Yep. Need to drain it anyway.
Yep, so if you'll get us a drain pan, we can do that, and then this will go or well, it might go
I think it'll actually come this way and then lay up.
Or I've got a set of needle nose in my toolkit. He's gone, ain't he? Yeah. And we'll take this lid off so that it's not airlocked. Okay. Let the air in and let the coolant out. Let it go, Louis.
Let it be free. Let it go. Let it go. This time we won't spill it everywhere.
I hope. Hold on, it's got a lock on it. Let me close my pliers a little bit. Whoa.
Bonk.
And now we have a ticking time bomb.
Yep, that can go off at any minute.
What do you mean?
Because of the lock freaking hose clamps.
These hose clamps lock open, but sometimes they just
This one's
spring
really good,
shut.
though. Look at that. Look at that knob.
Look at that knob.
Why are you cracking that?
Beautiful.
Quick swap.
The spring just went inside the freaking housing. Puke it. Yeah. Spit it out.
Let it go, Louie.
Let it go,
go ahead and swap that thermostat right fast.
Still got one little hose on it.
That's so we don't lose it.
So that's where the little thermostat's at.
Yes.
And you just pry it out.
Whoop. And we just leave it a little open so that we don't make a big mess. Let it out a little bit at a time.
So what's the difference between a 180-degree thermostat and factory one?
Make sure the wiggle valve's at the top. The 180 opens at a lower temperature than the factory thermostat. And what that does is obviously keeps the engine a little bit cooler. But with a cooler operating temperature, you can add more fuel. A cold engine takes more fuel than a hot engine to run the same. That's why if you overheat, you tend to run a little bit lean. That's why I don't ever grab this too hard. Okay, and now we swap to the 10 mil, remove these 2 bolts, and take these brackets out of the way so that we can move this around. I think we're gonna end up drilling out these spot welds and removing these 8 bolts so that we can remove the crash bar and let this swing over to give us the clearance we need to drill that down.
All right, so
Heading out to pick up some parts.
yeah, drill bits, heat shrink butt connectors, clamps, special tees to reduce the hose, barb fittings, 20 feet of 3/4 hose, and the mic is just doing what it wants. The truck said, I'm gonna go this way, but anyways. So we got a barb for the heat exchanger, 3/4, 20 feet of 3/4 hose, 4 feet of 1/2 inch hose, metal to make the brackets for the heat exchange, hose clamp and bracket for the pump because it did not come with anything to mount said pump, and just some liquid tape to just make everything look real clean, clean everything up.
With these kinds of projects, especially something like this, there's always going to be little odds and ends. So we'll try to document everything that we have to pick up. You know, that's a big part of this battle, is just finding everything that you need to make it work. So yeah, we'll go to the store, pick some of the stuff up. As soon as we get back, I'll let you know how much I spent on all of it, and yeah, kind of show you everything that we picked up, and then we'll get back to work. But how far along do you guys think we are on the process?
We're like a little over halfway.
You know, man, I'm looking at that parts bench and we're running out of parts.
Yeah.
That's good.
We're almost there.
Running out of parts is always a good thing.
Big.
The plumbing's right here. We can go for tees. Look at this fancy.
Yeah,
Wow.
let's check out the plumbing.
So, yeah, 2 of them. 3/4 by 3/4 by 1/2.
Yep.
Just like that. They are $5.99 each.
Okay.
You can't tell if those threads line up. They look like they might. Threads match up. It's a 3/4 barb, so we need 2 of these.
What did we need? I'm looking up for us.
Drill bits.
Drill bits. It's got a lot on it.
Oh my gosh.
For what we're doing, these will probably be all right.
I mean, we just need to drill 4 holes.
Yeah.
Okay.
We'll try it.
And then we need bolts and lock nuts to hold our bracketry together.
Yes. We'll try it.
How much is this? Are we spending $1 million?
This is
20
This is $10. This is 10. I got it from over here, I think. Oh, if we get carriage bolts, we can put it in the ovals.
So we got the bolts.
Yes.
So these are the bolts for the bracket we're gonna make for the heat exchanger. What size are these?
They are M8 125. I used the notes immediately. Okay. Well. And now what's left? Honestly, hose.
Yeah, I think you've got the...
Quick
I
math.
guess, yeah, we can use the bigger one because we can cut it down.
Good enough.
Okay, so we just got back from Ace Hardware and Advanced Auto Parts, so we'll show you everything we got. Total came out to $122, basically $123 from Ace, and then $94. So basically about $230-ish for the rest of this little miscellaneous hardware.
We got the drill bits. to drill into the spot welds on the front core support so we can pull the bumper support off and be able to get in there so we can drill and insert the little piece for the crank. We've got all these little bolts, these little guys. M8 by 125, there's the part number, and then for the nuts and the bolt.
And these are for the bracket that we're going to be making for the heat exchanger?
Yep.
Okay, yep. That's what all these bolts are for. Some liquid tape.
Yep, just to make things pretty.
Yep, some heat shrinks.
The correct barb fittings and stuff that we needed, the T's as well.
So we got, what, 3/4 by half, 2 of each of those. And then besides that, really just the piping. So what was the size for these?
The size for the hoses were half by 50 heat hose, and we've got 4 feet of that, and 3/4 by 50 heat hose, which is this, and we've got what, 15 feet-ish,
more or less.
And so these are for
the heat exchange and the plumbing for the supercharger.
Yep, that's all.
Just literally, yeah, everything for the supercharger.
yeah, and then just the little clamps for those.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I think we should honestly, hopefully, be set with everything. But yeah, this is the kind of hardware that you're gonna have to go source. Even if you go buy those kits from like MMX, you're still gonna have to source, you know, a few of these other connectors and stuff like that. All right, so now we're just double checking that all of the hose we got actually works.
So we've got our half-inch hose will fit there, just like I wanted it to. And this 3/4 is going to be the right size for the supercharger and everything else up here too. So
Sweet.
we're ready to rock and roll on that. Up next is we take this and we pin the crank.
Okay.
Because that's the hardest part.
That's the hard part.
Hardest.
Okay, we're back. This is what, day 3?
Something. 2.5.
Yeah, 2.5. But right now what we're doing is we are replacing this harmonic balancer. We got a brand new one over here. We're gonna be replacing that, and then we're going to be pinning the crank.
Yeah, we're gonna use the 2-pin style. This is the guide here. You flip this around, it locks into that hole like so. And if you look down in those holes, you'll see how it, you know, it's like
extra.
Yeah. It's on the metal on one side and on the hole on the other. It's right down the center of it. What that does is it allows us to drill these holes out and slide said pin in, and it locks the crank whenever we tighten it down and everything.
We'll remove that old one, fit the new one up. All right,
Should be fun. Should be fun.
let's get to it. Okay, so we're taking out the fuel pump right now.
So with the new fuel pump, we've got to get this sending unit out. And the way you do that is you take this lock ring off. You got to twist it lefty-loosey, but there's no real spot to get a wrench or anything on here. They make a special tool for it, but they don't work half the time. So the tried and true method is to take a hammer and a punch and knock this ring around. And it takes a lot of trying.
That is all.
A lot of trying.
It's a new car, so it shouldn't be too bad. There it is.
Off is the easy part. Oh, getting it back on is the hard part. That's when I cut my finger, was trying to get it back on.
I don't have pretty good luck with fuel pumps.
Fuel pumps.
Sir, this is SpaghettiOs.
I love the smell of gas.
Ross Creed.
So this also has to come off of here.
Push that.
This goes to the other side of the fuel tank. So this has to get pushed out of the way, and we'll have to go fishing for it later. This unplugs too. This also goes to the other side. This little 2-pin connector with the blue wire and the black wire. I can't get my finger in there. Robert, can you grab that yellow pocket screwdriver? We'll also have to go fishing for that later. Carefully. I hope. I don't have much of an option here.
Yeah, just take her out, buddy. Here, let me get...
So I've got to finagle it so as to not damage the float arm for the fuel gauge. And it is going to make a little bit of a mess right here. There's that.
All right. Excuse me, Brandon.
Some of these have a drain on the bottom. I don't think
Yeah,
this
I don't
one
think
does.
this one does, though. Because it would have been draining while you were pulling.
Here, I'm gonna close the door.
Gonna stick right to the book.
Man, drop some W's in the chat for Rob and Tyler. It is literally probably about 100 degrees. We got Tyler in this hot car,
Sweating.
working with this fuel pump. It's strong in there.
That is your gas tank. That's your gas in there. Looks good. Smells like gas. Now we do some work on the bench to get the pump switched out.
Okay. If you can crawl out of there. These things are pretty crazy looking.
A lot of new cars have this setup now.
What's the older setup like?
Pretty much just literally a pump on some freaking metal tubes.
Yep.
And it just drops into your fuel tank.
Gently. I'm trying to get these hoses off of it so I can really see what actually holds it in there, because usually when you replace one of these, the standard aftermarket replacement is a whole unit, but since we're going with a performance application, they sent just the actual pump, not the strainer.
All right, so we're back. It is what, probably day 5. Working on getting this thing buttoned up. Still have a little bit more to do, so we'll just kind of quickly run down the things we have left. So here's a look at where we left off. Last thing we did was drilled through the harmonic balancer, so you can see that right in there. Got those pins in. So now what we're gonna do is kind of just reinstall all of the stuff. We actually have a new AC condenser that we're gonna be installing as well. So we're gonna be recharging the AC, getting that new one in there.
Next we'll be plumbing up the heat exchange, the oil cooler, and working with some of the vacuum lines, and it should be pretty straightforward from here. The only kind of thing we'll have to do really is just make the bracketry for
the heat exchanger?
Heat exchange, yes.
Yeah, so that's why we'll reinstall this, put the
Yep.
crash bar back on.
Yep, and then what we're gonna do is mount it to the ear of the crash bar that comes off right here, and we're gonna tuck it up in here. We're gonna wire up the fan.
Let us know what you all thinking of the progress so far, because yeah, this thing's gonna be insane when it's done, but it's a big job. All right, y'all, so this is pretty much going to wrap it up for today's video. Hope you all have enjoyed it so far. Once again, stay tuned, because in our next video, you're gonna see the full install with all of the plumbing, all of the wiring, and all of that. So we wanted to break this up, once again, into 2 different videos, just so that way we could be super detailed and not have the video be super long. So stay tuned early next week for our next video. Hit that subscribe button, drop a like, drop some comments, let us know what y'all are thinking of this build, because in my opinion, it is probably one of the coolest builds out there. You know, it's not gonna be the fastest, not gonna be the most expensive, but it is definitely up there with being one of the most unique builds.
And it could be yours.
And it could be yours. So you can go get entered to win this exact charger over on AtlanticBeachCustoms.com. Every $5 you spend in merch will earn you 1 entry, and every digital photo you buy will earn you 1 entry as well. So go pick up some digital photos of this car, go pick up a t-shirt, go pick up an air freshener, and you have a real shot at winning this exact charger. So, you know, give yourself a shot. You don't want to be missing out on this.
This is now giveaway number 4. The first 2 winners that we've already completed never thought they would win.
Yeah.
And both of them, each one of them won.
And each of them spent what, less than $150? So we got building giveaway number 4 and building giveaway number 3 right here. So we've got 2 of these insane builds that we're finishing up, and both of these will be going to one of you out here very soon. So these things are gonna end here before we know it. The Charger ends August 1st, and the Challenger ends July 1st. So we're in the final month with the Challenger giveaway. So go get entered right now. Give yourself a shot at winning either of these 2 cars. And you could be starting off your summer with a custom all-wheel drive Hellcat or a custom 6.1 liter manual Dodge Challenger. So yeah, thank you all so much again for watching this video, especially if you made it this far. Really appreciate all of you. Make sure you're staying tuned, because here within the next week, we're gonna get this thing fired up. We're gonna get it on the dyno, get it tuned, and we're gonna get this thing out on the road and see exactly how fast and how ridiculous this thing is. So it's gonna be a ton of fun. But yeah, thank you all again for watching, and we'll catch you